For centuries, pregnancy was not something to be seen. It was hidden, concealed beneath layers of fabric, silence, and expectation. But why? Why did the world once treat the creation of life as something to be kept out of sight? This is the story of how pregnancy moved from secrecy to celebration. In ancient civilizations, pregnancy was both sacred and dangerous. In places like ancient Egypt and Greece, it was deeply tied to fertility, survival, and the will of the gods. But despite its importance, it was rarely displayed openly. Women were expected to remain modest. Their bodies, especially during pregnancy, were considered private. A visible pregnancy wasn't celebrated publicly. It was protected quietly. By the medieval era, the silence grew louder. Pregnancy became something even more hidden, almost secretive. Loose garments concealed the body. Art rarely depicted pregnant women, and public discussion almost non-existent. To be visibly pregnant was to acknowledge intimacy, and in many societies, that was not something meant for public view. Then came the Victorian age, where modesty ruled everything. Women disappeared from public life during the later stages of pregnancy. Fashion evolved to hide any visible change. Even the word pregnant was often avoided, replaced with phrases like, "in a delicate condition." Pregnancy was associated with sexuality, and Victorian society was deeply uncomfortable with anything that hinted at it. As the world entered the 20th century, change came slowly. Pregnancy was still largely concealed. Maternity clothing was designed not to highlight, but to disguise. In films and media, pregnant women were rarely shown. And when they were, it was subtle, controlled. The message remained clear. This was not something to put on display. But then, something changed. The rise of women's rights movements began to challenge old ideas. Motherhood was no longer something to hide. It was something to acknowledge. By the 1960s and 70s, maternity fashion started to evolve. Women stepped outside, visibly pregnant, still judged by some, but no longer invisible. And then, a single image changed everything. In 1991, a photograph of a pregnant woman appeared on the cover of a major magazine. She stood confidently, unapologetically, beautifully visible. That woman was Demi Moore. It was bold, it was controversial, and it redefined how the world saw pregnancy. Today, pregnancy is no longer hidden, it is celebrated. From social media announcements to maternity photo shoots, women proudly share their journey with the world. Bodies once concealed are now embraced. Stories once silenced are now told. What was once hidden is now honored. What was once whispered is now spoken. And what was once unseen is now proudly displayed. Because pregnancy was never something to hide. It was always something powerful. And perhaps the greatest change was not in the world, but in the courage to be seen. Subscribe for more histories.